Welcome to Clever Conversations. This is a chance for us to meet indie artists, authors, creators of all kinds, and we hope you enjoy this ride with us. Let's get into the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Clever Conversations. Today is a very big deal because I am one of a few amazing authors. Look at all these wonderful people in the room with us today. We are here to share all kinds of stories, information, help, but most importantly, we're here to share hope with all of you. And we got to put out this amazing book called Rattled Awake. It's volume 11, the mental health issue, available now on Amazon. Go look it up, buy it, leave us a review. I want to welcome everyone here. Hi, everybody. I know it's a big room. I want to get started. I think I'm going to start with the lady that put all of this together. She is so spectacular. She knows how to push and prod and get you going and really bring out what is so amazing about each and every one of us. Lonnee, Ray, thank you so much for not just being an amazing author, but for putting all of this together.
Thank you so much for the honor of sharing your stories. Come on, it works both ways. You guys are willing to be vulnerable and candid and funny and yeah, and everything in between. And you took on the challenge, which you can write a chapter in a weekend, and you guys did, and you knocked it out of the park. Are you kidding? My job's easy because of you guys. So thank you so much for making volume 11 an amazing book. The synergy, the love, the guy that you guys are is my honor. Thank you.
Well, you were spectacular and really the leader. And that's what we needed, was the leader to help us feel safe, to help us feel comfortable in sharing really personal stories. These are stories of struggle and then triumph, and things that are hard it's hard to talk about this shit. Let me tell you, it's just hard. Okay. And so it's important that we share these stories. It's important that we put these things out there for everyone, because you feel less alone. You feel less isolated in where you are at in your life when you can share these stories with others and let them know, hey, I got your back. I've been there. I've walked that walk, and I'm ready to help you in your overcoming of things. We talk about overcoming a lot. There's a lot of things that we have overcome. And I wanted to kind of I'm going to start and finish in the same square. If you're seeing all of us online and on screen, I want to start and finish in the same square because we have not one, but two authors in the same family. And so I want to talk to Tonya, because Tonya, you have a mother's journey, and girl, listen, that spoke to me. I have 4 kids. They're all adults, but we got them, we raised them, and we wanted them to feel comfortable. Tell us a little bit about your chapter and what you want to share with the world.
So it's really about just seeing him find his element and being in this environment where he just lit up and could be himself and was just so happy. And for me, I thought he has to be in this world. So as a mom, my business stuff gets put on hold. I need to do what I can to support him. And so in doing that, I hope that other parents see that and they can be inspired to help their kids. And if they're not quite sure what to do, we can help them with that. We can give them ideas. But, he's growing up, he's getting independent like your kids are. And it's hard on a mama sometimes.
It's really hard.
It's really hard, but he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And I just want to help him along the way to help him find his happiness and inspire others along the way.
Well, I took notes. So when I was writing, I wrote some things down, and I was taking notes on your chapter. And there was a few things that struck me in there that I really wanted to touch on. One of those is how important it is for us to want our kids to feel like they found where they feel accepted. Mm-hmm. What was that like, that moment? I mean, I know you wrote about it, but it's like an it's like bursting out of you, right? It's just such a magic moment.
I'm trying not to cry now. So it was just seeing him in that moment, and he looked at me and he said, "Mom, I found my tribe." And I was sitting there and I'd been thinking that very phrase all weekend. And then when he said that and just affirmed that for me, in the book I said there's no crying at NPC, but but it was
She came
hard.
close.
I came close. See, he knows I came close, but I didn't. Yeah, so it was a magical moment. It truly was.
And the other thing, I can totally see that, because my kids did a lot of different things, and just to see them like figure out where they fit in, where they feel safe and supported, and get that from their peers. It speaks to you providing that opportunity and supporting that opportunity. I think that's something that you need to, take on yourself. You supported that, and you promoted that, and you wanted that for him.
Yep.
And that sometimes is, moms and dads, sometimes we forget to do that, or we're not there. So amazing job. Pat yourself on the back. What a good mom you are. But the other thing, yeah, that's right. But the other thing I wanted to say is, and this is something that I think is really important, is that you also found some things there. And that struck me when I heard you say the other moms, right? There's the other moms of the kids that are there. Tell me a little bit about what that was like for you.
We would be standing in line and it's 100 degrees, and the kids are just having the best time ever, and the moms, we get to talking and we have a camaraderie, and there's this whole family vibe there. It's not just the moms, there were dads there too, but we were talking about we could even have an area for the parents, to be able to come together and meet. And so it was just wonderful seeing that, and seeing parents with their kids, and just having that vibe, even though it's a bit of a grown-up environment, let's be real, but you still have that family aspect to it. And I want to start like an NPC mom group, on Facebook or
Nice.
something,
You
to
should.
get us together and keep us connected, because I met 3 or 4 different moms, and we just hit it off, and had that just parent mom thing between us, and it was amazing. So there's a place for the parents there too. It's not just the kids.
That's so important, and that just encourages more of this for your son, and for all the other moms to kind of share things together. And it can be a whole thing. I think that's just a cool thing when you can find those relationships. As a sports mom, a lot of kids played sports and did different things. It wasn't always an easy to find that group, right? And so you kind of found your tribe along the way, which I think is pretty magical.
I even have the T-shirt that says NPC Mom.
Surprised you didn't wear it.
I should have worn it.
You got the T-shirt. That's awesome. It's official.
He was in line and he texted me and he's like, "Mom," in the merch line, and he says, "Mom, there's an NPC Mom shirt. Do you want one?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want one."
Perfect. Absolutely perfect for you. I am so excited. Before we head on to the next person, because we all have so many amazing stories to share, what is the one thing that you want people to get out of reading your chapter? What is the message you want them to get?
The message I want them to get is, we can help our kids find their happiness. We can support them and do that. And in doing that, it increases our happiness and decreases our stress, because then we're not as worried about our kids, because let's face it, we want our kids to be happy, right? So, and they may not know how to do that. And if not, then we can help show them the way how to do that.
I love that. Anybody have anything that you want to add? I know Lonnie's like, I can tell, I can see you. Yes.
Oh, are you kidding? This is a woman who decided to put aside her agenda and make her son her agenda. Like that, really, that's actually a big deal. Not everybody can do that. And it's a beautiful example. And what a great role model Tonya is. And then Brady's a role model for teens that are, finding their way and finding their footing. And these two were a prayer that got answered. I had a dream. It was on my list. I want to parent a child's story, and these two showed up. And it was divinely guided. I promise you it was, guys. Yes, it has just been incredible. And then to have it be about both of you, and then, hey, Nerdcore, you guys listening? Because these, this young man has some skills, and we want to help elevate him. And now he's the co-author of a #1 international best-selling book. Stop the presses. Come on. Like, how good is this story? And you're just getting started, young man. Look at that.
I know. He really is. I know. It's amazing. I love reading his story. And Brady, I'm going to come back to you at the end. I'm going to give you a little time to just chill and relax because I save the best for last. That's just how it is. So you're going to hang tight for a little bit. But Tonya, beautiful story, beautiful, parenting skills and way to take control and be like, I'm going to do everything I can to support his journey and letting him feel safe and find his tribe. That's an incredible message.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to move on to Carolyn. Carolyn, I really, really connected with you. So what you guys don't know in the background, we kind of met up and Lonnee brought us all together in a Zoom and then said, I'm going to send you off into, your own separate breakout rooms. And I got matched with Caroline. And Caroline, we're soul sisters. I just got to say that. So when I read your story, I was in your space. I knew it. I felt it. I knew exactly the air temperature of that room. I knew how things felt. I knew the coldness of the metal and just the clanging and the banging and the beeping and the all of the things that happen when you're in the hospital, right? And the intensity of it when it's something so severe. And so you brought me on that journey and I felt what you were feeling. Tell us a little bit, get us started on your chapter and why you wanted to write this, because I think it's such a powerful story.
Thank you, Bree. Thank you so much. And I believe the same, that we are somehow intertwined. My journey actually my life changed, I think I would say, September 6, 2023, when I had to have a brain surgery. And what happened leading up to it was I never spoke about it because my big thing was, just take another hill, you can do this, you don't need to be, just get up, keep going, what's wrong with you, just keep going. And there was a point when, and I remember it was thundering and lightning and it was raining, and I put my mouse down because I work from home, and I just said, I'm done. And so we ended up at the emergency room, and they ended up calling a code. They thought I was having a stroke, and the whole thing with the just everything, and my blood pressure was through the roof. They thought I had a brain bleed. It was awful. And the thing I think that got me the most, that really concerned me the most, was nobody would talk to me. No, none of the doctors would talk to me. They came in and they said, you need to see a neurologist. You need to see a neurologist. And I, my head is buried. I'm like, what, what are you talking about? This is BS, and you need to tell me why. And nobody would talk to me. I mean, they would tell you enough to say, look, you've got a problem, you need to go. And I was so close to just walking away when they made me stay overnight. And oh my God, I begged them, like you're talking about that, the clanging and the hallways and the metal, and you can just, you're alone. There's nobody with you. You don't know anybody, and you're begging them to let you go. Please. I swear, I said on my grandmother's grave, I will be back first thing in the morning. Please just let me go. And they were like, we can't. So it ended up going to see a neurologist, and they found out that my brain was actually 6 millimeters below the brain tonsils. So it was being it was being squished. And so there wasn't fluid that was able to get down to the spine, which was creating issues. And they said, well, we need to go in, and it's the Chiari malformation. And they actually go in and they open up your brain. They take out some skull parts. What I didn't know.
Well, I love how you say that so nonchalantly. They just take out some skull parts. Got a bit extra over it. I don't think I need this one.
Listen, I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm weak. I can't hear that. I know what you've been through. It's awful. But what you've become, who you are, after all that.
And the thing was that as soon as, and I can still remember, as soon as that doctor, the first time when he came in there, I'm like, I'm cured. I'm just like, I'm ready to go. And, I thought I would be back to work after 2 weeks. And they were like, oh no. Well, what we found out actually in October was that the surgeon had nicked the base of my brain. And when he did that, he created a leak. So my brain would never, I had a bubble, a huge bubble on the back of my neck, and there was no healing. And so in January, they put in a brain shunt, and then the brain shunt, it just keeps going, runs behind my ear and over my clavicle and into my abdomen. And, I have to watch out for magnets, which is, it's almost
crazy.
It's almost comical, right? But
yeah, I mean, but there are magnets everywhere. And I know, like, when I hear you tell your story and how really catastrophic everything was, I think one of the things that really strikes me about it is that feeling of something's wrong and no one's really helping me. And that's what really, because that's how I felt, right? And I still struggle with doctors, and I'm seeing this doctor and still trying to work things out. I am, my heart's fine now, but it there's still things that aren't right. And I keep going back and saying, this, you still haven't solved my first problem.
Right.
Like, we got the hard thing finished. And then, doctors being doctors and being specialists, everyone's specialized. They're like, oh, well, we fixed your heart. So that's whatever else is happening is not cardiology. Have a nice day. We'll see you in 6 months for your checkup. And they kind of just send you on your way. So my question is for you is how are you what advice do you have? And how did you handle that? I know something's wrong, and I need to find my voice to get that taken care of.
That's an excellent question. And Bree, the hardest part for me was, the hardest part in this whole thing was I was untouchable. And that is not a misstatement. That is a fact. Because there was a problem with my brain, I was untouchable. Nobody wanted to go in there and fix what he had messed. And it's a variable with surgeries. It's a variable. So the thing is that when I look at it, nobody would touch me. It was like I had some type of communicable disease, and they would make comments. One of them made a comment. One of the PA said something like, well, just think of it as like a flat, a tire that just has to go so big and then it'll explode. And I started crying because I'm like,
that's got bedside manner. What is that? Like, come on.
And so we went through, Bree, I said it all the time. I talked to them and I told them and I called them, and not once did they, at one point the doctor said, I think you're being emotional. And I got up in his face and I said, you're damn right. This is my brain. And I turned around and I walked out. And that was the last time I saw him. And then in January was when he put the shunt in. But he actually, I think one of the PAs came after we went in when they took out the staples. And he gave me a hug and he said he had no idea how bad it was. He had no idea. And I'm thinking, I told you. And I, so the hardest part is never give up. Even if people are running up to you and they're saying nasty things, or they're just saying, you know, they're dusting you off like you're lint. Never give up. You fight for you, because one of the nurses, and I can't remember her name, she said, you're your best advocate, because if you don't push it, they won't. And you're right. They'll kick you down the road. They'll say, hey, you know what? Go to the next doctor. We're finished with you. And you're right. And
Yeah,
that is
you
something.
have to fight for it. You have to put it out there.
Yep.
You have to tell people over and over again, and you have to keep pushing and fighting, because no one is going to do it but you, right? I mean, your family will probably stick up for you and yell and scream, because I trained my daughter well, so she will. I know that. But you know, you have to be your own advocate. You have to say, but I'm not right. I'm not right. Things are not okay. And even when we do go to get help, we don't always get the response we are expecting. And that can feel like a setback. That can feel very defeating to us, right? So we have to keep going. If it doesn't feel right, if something isn't right, keep asking for help, because eventually you're going to find the person like you did.
Yep.
You find that person that is going to be the right person to give you the help that you need. That's going to help you get on the way to where you need to be. And maybe, you know, and that's the thing in your life, and that I think is the hardest, that is very relatable, is it's getting to a point that may not be it's not going to be the life that you had before. Right. But it can be a new life that can mean new things. And that's regardless, like, that goes across with not just our health, right? Catastrophic things can happen with relationships ending, divorces. Greg's not here today, but talking about divorce and finding a new light beyond that, finding a new sense of normal, a new beginning. Things things change in our life. We go through these different things. The past has helped mold us, but it can't always define us. It can't always take us, say, you know, this is going to be where I'm the rest of my life. I think I felt that in my life, where I was like, I am not going to settle. This is not for me. This is not the rest of where my life is going to be. I refuse to keep it there. Right. And I think that's where you're at right now. You're angry and I refuse. And I think that's really important to show to people, that we can get to that point where we maybe haven't gotten to where we want to be, which is a different place than we were at when we started, but a new place where we can find joy and happiness and live our lives the way we want to live them. But we have to get there. And during that, there is that road of anger and resentment, but we have that fight, and you still have that fight. And that's what brings us up. It draws us up. I can look around this room and see so many people. I see Dr. Ellen shaking her head. Yes. Yeah. And I know that you carried people through so many things, right, Dr. Ellen? And so you've been able to, give them light and bring them through when no one else would help as well. She's laughing. She's like, yes, it's really early in New Zealand. Hello, New Zealand.
Hello.
But I saw you back there shaking your head. But yeah, Carolyn, I mean, we go through a lot, and that road is not always easy for us. But you really are taking it and saying, I am not settling. I am not taking this. I am going to keep pushing for what I want. What do you want people to get out of your chapter? If you were going to leave them with a message, what do you want to leave them with?
That I'm moving on every day, and I have an incredible, I love the elderly. I love the elderly. So I developed, it's called Elder Greeting Card Project. So what I do is I've talked to a couple of the schools, and I have I'm trying to think what they call an initial project that I launched down in Castle Rock, Colorado. And what we did is we get greeting cards, and they're done by children, and they're just little messages, no names on them. It just says something like, have a great day, with a smiley face. And then it's sealed up, and on the outside of it, it'll say something like, to our treasured resident. Now, think about this in the way that a lot of folks don't get mail. They just don't, right? But think about it on the double side, is that remember when, like, my people that have Alzheimer's, they can open that thing 50 times, and guess what? Every single time it's going to be new, and they're going to remember somebody loves them. And for me, that's what I'm doing. And I'd be damned, I'm not going to sit on the sidelines and let this thing stop me. I mean, I have my rough days, but I'm taking another hill. You know, I am just going for it. So, and I would want people to do that same thing. I love the elders. I worked with another project, Oki Language Project. It's just remembering that at one point in time, these guys were where we are, but it's celebrating who they are, and it's not forgetting them. It's lifting them up. So the greeting cards and Oki, it's just like an amazing opportunity to connect with people that you may never have connected with before. I would say smile and take another hill.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful, Carolyn. Thank you so much. Your message rings so clear and true to me, and I am so grateful that I was one of the first to read it and then got to connect with you about it. Just incredible. All of the stories here, all of the stories in this book are simply amazing. But I got to get to our guy over. I was going to say, are you in Oslo? But I think I don't know where you're traveling, Hawk, but Hawk is here. Hi, where are you at right now?
I've just passed the border from Sweden, or between Sweden and Norway. So I'm traveling back to my dog. I couldn't bring her for once because she doesn't have her vaccinations right now. So yeah, I'm sitting in my car and listening to beautiful stories and seeing the beautiful people and enjoying it.
I love it. Well, okay, so tell us a little bit about your chapter and why you wrote it. What was so important to you to get out there in this?
I think that the mental health care system is on the wrong path. I think that the belief that if there's a pill for all ills, that is flawed. It is not based on true science. If people have an issue, then they can get some help from a pill. If you, for instance, if you are you haven't slept for a week, then most of us will get a bit frazzled, and many will experience other states that what we call psychosis. But then you need to sleep, and sometimes pills can help.
Yeah.
But the way it is now, that the standard treatment is that we just give you an antidepressant or antipsychotic or whatever it is, a benzo or something. I think it is not based on solid science, and it's not based on good way to treat humans.
There's got to be other answers out there. There really has to be. And there are. And you found many of them. And through your experiences, you shared some really deep moments of your life and things that you have been through. But you said a few things in there that I wrote down that really struck me. And one of the things that I wrote when I was reading your chapter was love warriors. Because, and I like that, because I think that we need more of that in the world, of more compassion and love to shown to not just our family and friends, which I hope we're all showing that anyway, but really to just other humans that we share this planet with.
Yeah, and go loving on people. I mean, take a walk in a busy street, and just experience that to just everybody you see, no matter what they look like, no matter their color or race, religion, doesn't matter. Just send them love. It is an amazing experience, you know. It's and I think my chapter is called "Love is the Antidote." I think really love is the antidote to apathy, to so many of what you can perceive as dark emotions, or negative emotions, because true love, you can really heal other people. That and to me, I'm also a healer. Love is what fuels the healing. That is energy behind the healing. That when you give somebody a healing, it stems from love.
Absolutely. It really does. And I know that in your chapter you wrote, who are you surrounded with? Who are you putting around you? And I think when you're going through a very difficult time and you need that, you want to surround yourself not with the asshats that you call them, but with, people, right, that are going to be loving and kind and show support. But then I think also on the flip side of that, for me anyway, is if I can show love and kindness out to other people that may not be experiencing enough of that, and that's why they are, depressed or having a lot of issues going on with them, then it's my job to shower them in that love as well. So I might surround myself with asshats just so I can make them better humans.
Exactly. And well
right?
said.
If I got through a lot, so maybe I need to give it back now and not that I'm not talking about you guys. Wait a minute. There's no reflection on who's in the room with us. Come on now.
Okay. Thank you.
But no, we have to put it out there, right? We have to give to those that don't have it because we want to surround them. We want to leave that legacy. And that's another thing that you wrote in there was, how do I want to be remembered? Right. And that was really important. You tell me about that.
Yeah, because, being a monk and someone who's worked with lots of different people, also terminal people, I've reflected a lot on death and what do I want to say on my gravestone? What do I want people to remember me for? What was the purpose of my life? How will my children, my grandkids remember me? What is the legacy I leave in the world? I'm thinking, because the way I see it, I don't know what happens when you die. I haven't been very close to death, but I haven't passed the border and stayed there. But I do know that all we bring with us is the love that we shared and were given. That is something I'm very certain of. And then to me, that is also what I'm trying with my friends who have passed on. My father, who died back in 1970. I want to remember the beautiful moments. I want to remember my father for the contributions he had at the university where he worked. I want to remember my mother for her contribution to Norwegian psychology, and the love she shared with me and with my kids, everything that she taught me, having her as my boss. And I think that is something we should really reflect on, to remember what sort of legacy do I want to leave behind. And when you talked about being surrounded by assets, having worked in institutions, you can't choose the people you surround yourself with. So I had the interesting experience of working with, the dark triad with Machiavellian and psychopaths or sociopaths and narcissistic people. But still, sometimes it's difficult to see their light, I must admit. Sometimes I really struggle. Sometimes I haven't really found it. But that is a very, very small percentage of all the hundreds of people I've had the blessing of meeting in institutions. It seems that, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. It's just an incredible story. So many words in there that inspire me to be even better than I am today. And I think that was the goal of your chapter, was let's be better. Let's all try to be better, and let's help those that can't be better, and not just throw pills at them and say this is the answer, because I know that goes across not just in what they're suffering with, but I know my doctors throw a lot of pills at me. I got a lot of pills. I got a whole drawer of pills. I have a pharmacy over here. It's terrible, and I want to throw them away. Amazing. Thank you so much. I know, Hawk, that you might have to drop off because you have a battery issue with your phone.
Yeah, no, I can recharge but then I need to put on Bluetooth, and those are horrible to talk with. So I want to listen to you guys while I'm
awesome.
driving. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't want to leave you.
I got to move on to Robb. Robb, you had the 12 steps that were, I was really... like, I don't know if I've ever read the 12 steps. I have to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever read them all. And I was reading through yours, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Tell us a little bit about your chapter and why you decided to write this.
Well, me being a recovering alcoholic, and I have 3+ years, and I say I'm a recovering alcoholic because every day I'm doing what I need to do to maintain my sobriety. So I'm always recovering. And I will for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that. The 12 steps that I interpreted from Alcoholics Anonymous, they just amaze me. For those that don't know about Alcoholics Anonymous that well, there's 12 steps. What you normally would do, you would go through it with a sponsor, a mentor to layman. But yeah, you go through the 12 steps. You start with 1. I ain't going to go through them, but you start with 1. You admit you're powerless over alcohol and your life had become unmanageable. And then you just go from there. So when I did volume 5 with Lonnee, I told my story. I told my story of where I struggled and eventually came out of the darkness that I was in. And I'm 1000% certain, I know that those 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous pulled me out of that and made me who I am today, and grateful and blessed to have the life I have. So fast forward to now, she reached out to me to do volume 11. And in the back of my mind since volume 5, I said, why can't everybody benefit from these steps? I mean, they're beautiful. They've helped thousands and thousands of people who are recovering, and they're living beautiful lives now. That's one thing people don't know, the laymen. I call them laymen, the ones that don't need recovery. It's helped so many. So it's been in the back of my mind, and when Lonnee reached out to me about doing chapter 11, we came to the conclusion, why don't I do it and do my interpretation of these 12 steps? Because it doesn't matter what you're going through. I mean, there's tons of examples. If you could follow these steps as guidelines, they can give you a perspective of where you need to be and put yourself in that mindset to recover from whatever you're going through. And if it doesn't help, it doesn't help. Because just like the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, it doesn't help everybody. But I was given a gift. And I just wanted to share that with everybody. And I hope my interpretation can.
I think it can. I have to agree, Robb. I mean, towards a beautiful life. I mean, these steps are been so important for so many, but I think your interpretation brings it to another level and really inspires us to be better and do better and to be also accountable. Like that was really important. What I heard come across and what you were talking about when I was reading your chapter was being accountable. And, because we're all going to stumble, we're all going to fall, we're all going to screw up. That is what life is all about. If we didn't do those things, then the joys wouldn't mean as much as they do because we haven't stumbled and fallen and learned and grown and gotten better. And to accept those things and then even in our worst of times, be accountable. And then I love the part where you're just like, let it go. Like I started hearing Taylor Swift in my head going, shake it off, like, let it go, get rid of it. Like, be accountable, own it, and apologize and move forward and take your life, have more faith, and find your purpose with the creator of the universe, whatever God, whatever that is for you. But then also let that stuff go. And I think that's one of the things that people do carry on through their life is that they carry too much baggage, way too much baggage. We carry it around with us, and man, my arms get tired. And so you were really clear on that about letting some of, like, write it down, tell someone, and then, let it go.
Yes.
That was huge.
Yeah. And it's one thing that you were mentioning, because it's from my own experience. Everything that happened, not everything, but most of the things that happen to us, most people, they blame other people instead of, like you said, taking accountability. Oh, I blame tons of people for certain things in my life. But when you do these steps, you sit there and it makes you think. You write down resentments. You write down harmful things you've done to people. And it gives you a bigger picture of who exactly you are. Because sometimes people don't know who they really are. They just go about life and, they want this, they want that. Oh, it's your fault, whatever. But this gives, like you said, and like I said, it gives you accountability. It gives you a deeper perspective of the person that you are. And it's like, do you want to continue down this path of being negative and being hurtful? Or do you want to turn your life around and have a beautiful life, experience the joys, experience the positivity? I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad I did what I did, because I don't want to go back to where I was.
No.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. And why? And then you look at yourself too, and you're like, why am I still hearing this? Like, what am I doing? This is horrible. I think that's a really, really important message, Robb. And I love that you shared all of it. Listen, if you're considering getting the book, go get this for just this alone, because you will be the better for it. Robb put so much thought into this. I really, really liked it. And I learned, and I took notes, and I know that it's going to help me moving forward, because I think we do carry around baggage that we don't need to carry around, and we own it and we get rid of it and we move forward and we start accepting ourselves and liking ourselves a little bit more, right? Like yourself a little more. You're pretty awesome.
Yep.
Amazing. I know we're running late on time. I wanted to get so many people to get to. I want to move to Dante really quick. Dante, your story, it was like I heard you in this, and I felt you in this when that COVID hit. Tell us a little bit about your chapter and why it was so important for you to write this.
Absolutely. So, Bree, first of all, thank you for allowing us to have the platform to discuss our stories. It's super important. So thank you for that. But essentially, my story details the first 4 months of 2020. And, when I think back to that time frame, nobody knew what that year was going to bring. And I remember in 2019, December, everybody said 2020, the year of vision. This is going to be everybody's year. It's a new decade. And soon life really turned upside down for everybody. And as I was writing that story, I remember it so vividly because those 4 months really changed the trajectory of my life. But I was actually writing it when I realized, something new happened every single month for that first quarter of 2020. And I felt like it was a relatable story, especially for those that seem to have everything happening all at once on top of the environment that they're around.
I think it did. I think it was really overwhelming for so many people. And we just didn't know, because it was so like something we've never experienced. Anyone that was alive on the planet had never experienced anything like that before. And it really threw everything into a tailspin. I mean, from all over the place. And there was so much loss during that time. So I really related to the loss that you went through, because it was really touching. And I could feel the love you had for your grandmother. I could feel the, you know, the frustration with the unfairness of it all. But I think you really celebrated her and the things that you did moving forward, and honored her so very much. That would make her so proud and so blessed to have you as a grandson, right? And that leads to what all we're trying to do. We just talked about this. What is our legacy? What do we want to leave behind, right? What do we want to be remembered for? And you honored her in those things that she would be blessed. You know, she's so amazing to have left with you, that still reside in you. Like, she lives through you and your choices. What was your biggest struggle, and how did you overcome that? I mean, because I think that decision that you made to go and travel and no, I need to be there. This is where I need to be.
Yeah.
How did you come to that? Like, what was that like for you making that decision when everyone else was telling you don't do that? And like, what is that message that you want us to get from all of this?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. It was a little lonely in making the decision. And the reason I say lonely is because, as we all know, there's no handbook to life. And as much as we wish we can just turn to page 7 and tell us exactly what we need to do in that moment, there's no outcome that's guaranteed. So it was a little lonely, but, you know, I just held true to what's going to make Dante happy, not, you know, what's the quote unquote right thing to do, or, you know, what do I get the most hand claps for, but genuinely what's going to make me happy. And I realized that up until that point, I didn't always make that decision. So when I really sat and meditated on what I wanted and not what anybody else wanted, it was simple. It was simple getting that one-way ticket. And I'm glad I did it, and I would do it again.
Lonely, but still on the right road and doing. Sometimes it's hard. You have to walk it alone and show the world, because everyone, you know, we find that in our lives, people try to blow our candles out a lot. You know what I mean? They do that. It sucks. I don't like it, but they will try to do that. And you have to keep that candle lit, that flame lit, that spark, that light, that ember that drives you forward, that says, let's go, let's do this thing. Get up, get up, get up. So thank you for sharing your story. That I was so moved by it. I just loved it. I was like, I want the whole Lifetime movie now on all of that. So thank you for that. Speaking of get up, like, I heard this. I was talking to Lonnee and I said, get up. That was what came across to me. Like, get up, keep moving. But Eileen, you went through that as well, when you were just like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to make the changes, and I'm going to help others make the changes. Tell us a little bit about your chapter and what's your message that you want to get out to people today?
Thank you. Hi, Brady. So I had suffered for about 8 years from fibromyalgia, and that was when it was just becoming a household name 20 years ago. And actually, I suffered before that. And then towards the end, when I was just at my wit's end, I made a declaration. I literally was rolling out of bed, and my life had been consumed by the fibromyalgia, and I needed my life back. I wanted my life back. So I literally threw my hand in the air, my fist, and I said, take me or heal me. And whatever energy was behind that, it changed my world. And things started to happen that put me on a path to becoming authentically myself. And I've learned over a short period of time that we have the power through our thoughts and our intention to create the world that we want to live in, who we want to be, and how we can rise above those that want to bring us down. So pretty much everything everybody has said is a part of what I do, where I've been. And I think we're all kind of interconnected in our own experiences, but it's all like this wonderful pot of amazing trials and tribulations and ahas and realization. So my journey is one of rising above, kind of like the phoenix rising, and recognizing where I was not honoring myself, my gifts, my skills, my innateness of who I am. And when I started to understand that and to realize the magic of the universe, that mysterious hand that's guiding, or that kick in the butt that's saying, go that direction. Don't give up. I think, Carolyn, you said don't give up. So, it's all a matter of what do I want? And then I followed that part of what do I really, really want? And I wanted my life back. I wanted out. And I had to get up, just like you, Bree. Get up, get up, get up. I had to get up because nothing was going to happen unless I took that step. So I healed in 3 months, and I dove headfirst into understanding the mind, the body, the spirit connection. What does it take to be fully 100% authentically myself? And through the process of the healing and becoming the better version of myself, things started to come through me. I'm not going to say from me, but through me. And it ultimately became the core thinking blueprint method. And I realized through undoing who I'd become to become wholly who I am, I could take my skills and my gifts, my innate gifts of being a good listener, seeing what's not okay. So part of the story I didn't say is that I was born with a 60% hearing loss. So I hear and I see, I'm in the world different than the average person. So I can see what's not being shown. I can hear what's not being said. So this method was a way for me, I like to say it was brought by the universe through me to be able to help others in a way that guides them to become a better version of themselves. So I had people along the way tell me they had breakthroughs and they feel sparked. So I call myself the Breakthrough Spark Coach because I help them get beyond and go to that next level, take that next step, get out of fear and be able to align with their own sense of autonomy, their own sense of self. And so I have the 3 C's, which is confidence, courage, and clarity. Those 3 have got to be the foundation upon which you stand to build from. And if any of those are weak, it's like a 3-legged stool. If any of those are weak, the stool will not stand. So that's the basis of the core thinking blueprint method. It's an amazing way to strengthen and to face the world through the adversities. And the cool thing is, once this development starts to take hold and the escrow of the old goes away and you build the new you, there's no going back. So you can only go forward. And the universe somehow, magically, mysteriously, synchronistically, brings you people, experiences to support that next step in moving forward. So a person can become a better, stronger leader. If they're an entrepreneur, they make better decisions. If they are a business person, a CEO, they become more confident in all of the steps that they take or the leadership that they have. So it's just, when we pay attention and we up-level our thinking and we understand the value of what we're processing and how we show up in the world, then we can be unstoppable.
I love that. That is a perfect way to wrap that up, Eileen. I mean, amazing, amazing story. I love the way you put all that together, and it's the same thing with my story. Is I had to make a conscious decision that I wasn't gonna I was gonna get up. This isn't okay. I'm gonna keep, even though it's not easy and it's against the odds of what everyone's telling me, I'm gonna still get up and fight and do the things. And I think, we all need to do that more. Find that voice inside of us that screams, get up, whether it's, 5 a.m. and we have to take the dogs out. We hear get up, get up, get up. Or if it's, a real life struggle that we're facing, right? We need to get up because it's up to us to make that change, right? We can't change for anyone else. We have to change for ourselves. We can't make things right if we're not willing to just push ourselves and get ourselves going. One person that really strikes me is someone that is the loudest get up I've ever heard and always makes you laugh when you come in the room is Seamus. He's the guy who was saying everything to everybody as soon as they came in the room today. And I love that about you. But you've really, really been through a lot of struggles in your life. You've really come close to not being with us. And I think that's one of the things that we really wanted to talk about today. We haven't talked that much about it. So I really wanted, because of your candor, the way you shared so much of what's inside you and what you've been through, talk a little bit about it, shed some light on that. And I'm going to put up some info on the screen while we're talking for people that if they're struggling with suicide, that they can reach out to somebody.
Yeah, thanks, Bree. And listen, I'm honored by being on your show, and I suppose to go into the detail of my own backstory would take far too long, and I'm not going to take up any more airtime by sharing that. Suffice it to say, that for a long time I was in a lot of pain and I experienced a lot of trauma in my life, and I got to the stage of my life where I had enough. I had enough of life, I had enough of living. My first marriage broke up. My children went with my ex-wife. I didn't get to see my children, and I thought my life was over. And I thought, let's just check out. Let's just, the pain was far too much. So intentionally, I closed my eyes while I was driving my car one day at very high speed, and I heard that voice in my head just say, "Open your eyes." And just as I did, there was a car coming towards me. I managed to avoid the car, go into the side, come to, and suddenly came to an awareness that I wanted to, I wanted to end the pain, but in so doing, I was willing to take my own life, and then I felt scared. Felt really scared, and I got myself to a place of safety. I got myself seen by a medical professional. I got myself on the path to recovery. And you see before you today somebody who has walked the walk and talked the talk. And although I might be brash and although I might be up and joyful and happy, there was a time in my life when I wasn't. But what my experiences have taught me is that when I show up to myself, when you do the work, when I as a human being took the time to get to know me, to deal with my pain, to get treatment for my trauma, life can happen, and I find myself today. I'm a wonderful father, grandfather, godfather, so you can refer to me as the Don if you like. I share this room and I share this space with an amazing group of people who have enabled me to come out of my shell and share my story. For a long time, I didn't want to share my story, that I felt scared, I felt frightened, I felt judged. But you guys around this room today have supported me, have loved me, have been there for me, which has allowed me to share my story. And today I'm in a really good place. And the message of my chapter is that you can be as low as you can possibly go. You can be literally, holding on to so much pain. And it's amazing what can happen if you just open your eyes and open your heart to the reality of that there's somebody out there to give you support or to guide you in the right direction. And for me, it was that wonderful patient in that psych ward that I didn't know his name, but he literally gave me the secret to begin my life again. He literally offered that free to me, and I took it, and I continue to take it on a daily basis.
Wow. I mean, we're first of all so glad that you are here and that you share your message and that you're so raw and honest about it. And I think that speaks to people. It's so important to know that you aren't alone and that there is help, and there's help easily available. They've really pushed a little farther to make it easier. 988 is the hotline. We're so honored by your story. I know it affected every single one of us in a way that really, how do I say it? It just really changed. It changed my opinion on a lot of things. It really opened my eyes to people that are hurting. A lot of this, there's other stories in here. Tim's not here to share his, and there's things that we can do that are so simple that can help another person when they are going through something like this, when they are struggling. Like you had someone that shared with you, right? Like just that hand, reaching out your hand to help them up, lending an ear to listen, getting them to someone that is a professional that can help them. Because we don't have all the answers and we feel helpless and we don't know what to do. But sometimes it's just sitting there and listening and then getting them the help that they need, telling them there's a number to call, saying I'm your friend. And I think it's so important. So if anyone is listening, if anyone out there, is struggling right now, it's important to every single one of us in this room. We want to see you get help. We think you should be here and that you should seek help. And we put the number up on the screen. I don't want to cut you short. I know we're so short on time, but just know, Seamus, that your story is going to impact so many and save lives. And it was a story that needed telling, and I'm so glad that you did.
Thank you, Brie. I appreciate it.
And I want to move to a lady that to me is, whenever I picture her, you know how when you're thinking of somebody, you get a picture in your head, and when I picture her, she's in like a Wonder Woman costume, or she's this all powerful superhero of strength, all this stuff. Dr. Ellen, the thing, she's like, what are you're talking to me? Wait, all that build up and you're talking to me? Yes, girl, I'm talking to you. But you've done some miraculously amazing things, and I really that's what I picture you as. Like, I think underneath your clothes, there's like a cape and stuff.
That's really flattering, Brady. I'm just me.
No, you do a lot of amazing things. Tell us a little bit about your chapter and what is your message that you want to share with people today?
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks, Bree. So my chapter is about the movement I'm pushing called #WorkSchoolHours. And for anyone thinking, oh, that doesn't make sense, it's not a dogmatic, the whole world works 9 till 3. I'm not an idiot. I know that doesn't work in every single situation. But it's basically what happened, Bree, is I got pissed off. We live in a world where we are expected to parent as if we don't have a job and work as if we don't have kids. And basically, I don't accept that. I don't accept that as the world that we live in. And my journey to this was over being in the army, doing kind of my MBA and PhD on leadership, and then postdoctoral research on the experience of working parents. And basically, I found that being a working parent is tough. Surprise. I've got 2 little boys myself, and it's really freaking hard. And, trying to do school pickup at 3 o'clock, yet be expected to work until 5 o'clock, be with the kids for sort of 12, 13 weeks of the school holiday year, yet working obviously, more than those weeks. It's really difficult. And so #WorkSchoolHours is this kind of principle-based movement for how we can do things differently. So that's kind of the purpose of my chapter. And I think actually, I'll pause there. That's the purpose of the chapter, Brandon.
Okay, I love it. No, that's okay. No, and I think that's 100% true. And there's these moms that, I don't know what they do. And I think that it's all a bunch of garbage. That they make it seem like they can balance everything, and their kids have healthy lunches, and they get them to school on time, and their homework is always done, their clothes are always clean, they go to bed at a decent time, and the mom is working a full-time job and works weekends upon occasion, and that just isn't the reality that we live in. They might say that's what's happening, but I guarantee you that they didn't have socks that morning, that they don't have any of their kids' homework done. So they're doing it while they're like, before they drive, while the kids are getting dressed, they're like finishing their kids' homework. Guilty, done that. And like, I don't even know, here's some lunch money, go buy a lunch. I hope it's healthy, kind of a thing. Because we're so stressed out, and we have to get to work. We have to do all these things. We have to be this everything. And I think we forget that if we don't take care of ourselves and we don't start prioritizing what makes us okay, then none of that other stuff is going to matter, because we're not going to be there for it. And I love that you're saying that it doesn't have to be that way, and then we don't have to do all of those things. Where were you 20 years ago? When I was needing it. My kids are I got their butts out of the house, so I don't have to do any of that anymore. But man, there was times I was not really smiling, and I was swearing like a sailor in my head.
I think the big thing, Bri, is nothing in my chapter is about changing parents. Like, we're great. Kids are great. Actually, what needs to change is the freaking world. Yep. And that's literally what the chapter is about, is how do we change the construct of work in a way that actually is good for everyone. So good for parents, but actually everyone, and commercially smart. And I know we're wrapping up now, but I believe in this stuff so much. I honestly believe the working world can be so much better, and that we can make all people feel like they're not just drowning when they go to work and try to balance their external struggles. So yeah,
I agree. I think it's really important. I think what you're doing is really, really important. And I look at what my kids and hopefully my grandkids can do, and that this is, that things change for them, because I know what a struggle it was, and I know what it was like, and I've raised 4 myself, and it was never easy. And I was always behind on everything, and I put myself last, and my health suffered from it. It wasn't until just a couple of years ago that I actually, because it gets ingrained in us, and it wasn't until recently that I put myself first, right? When I went to the checkout line and I started finally ringing my own things through first, because what my needs are mattered, right? And I never did that. I always put myself last because I could go without. So I think we get in this mindset of this is how it has to be. And so the fact that you're saying things need to change so that we're not so stressed out, so that we can be effective parents and effective at work, and that the system is set for our success instead of set for our failure. And I love that. So thank you for sharing that.
Heck yes. Thanks, Bri.
Yep. Miss Lonnee, let me tell you, when first I have to say, I was reading your bullies chapter, and my son went through being bullied, and I was a bully when I was in school. So when I was in 5th grade, I've never told the story to anyone in my life before. When I was in 5th grade, I wasn't even trying to be a bully, but I made fun of one of my friends, and it was mean, and it hurt her. And no one said anything to me. No one stood up for them. They all thought I was hysterical and laughed at my joke. And no one stood up for my friend who I hurt terribly bad. And that I carried with me for a very long time. And I apologized, and I changed myself, because it didn't take me but one instance for me to realize that was not the kind of person I wanted to be. But I didn't realize it when I said it. And not all bullies are sorry for what they do and how they treat people, but some of us do. And then I saw my own son bullied, and it really, really affected me. He had changed schools. He had just been diagnosed with diabetes, and he was in middle school. So pretty much the worst time ever if you're a teen, young, about to be a teen kind of a thing. And I saw the effects that it had, and it made me so angry. And I still think back on the time that I was that mean girl that one day that I will never, ever be again. And you really packed a punch with the things that you had to say in this book.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There was a question in there. I don't know what it was. I lost myself in my own train of thought. No, but tell us a little bit. You wrote a lot in this book. You helped us make our own stories a little more eloquent than they were first written. and you put so much of your heart and soul into this, but you have quite the story to share.
Which one?
Whichever one you want to share. But you talked about bullies, but you also talked about how it is to get knocked down, and how suicide could be a real easy answer sometimes when it's not.
Well, it seems like the only way you have out.
Mhm.
And as so many have observed, it's just that you want to be out of pain. You don't necessarily want to die. But to reach that point where you think that's your best option because you've run out of your very best got you to that moment and can't possibly see anything else better, it sucks. And it's scary. And that's why I'm so grateful that Ted Steinruck has brought to the book to the attention of everyone. And that's really the mission really here, is to call 988. There didn't used to be help that you could call and have somebody talk to you. And that's often what somebody needs, is just to feel appreciated and valued. And I remember one time my girlfriend called me sobbing, and I said, I don't know what you came to experience. I just know, like, I would miss you. I was as honest as I could be. And she stopped crying, and she made it. Sometimes people just need to know that they matter. It's such a small thing. But when you have a 988, call 988. Call 988. It isn't just that you're suicidal. It may be that you're having other issues. Look it up, 988.com, please. That's really the mission that's come out of this. And the help that can come from just feeling heard is immeasurable and priceless. And I really, really hope that if somebody's out there thinking that they don't matter because they've heard that their whole life, or they felt in the way their whole life, I get it. Still, sometimes wonder, I think we all do. Not many people are impervious to the bullying and bad behavior. People are behaving badly lately, and what it does to a person's self-esteem and their sense of value. So, yeah, I really feel so passionate about all you guys' stories. But I also know the upside is, it's not easy. You have to go through it to get over it. The trick's not to get stuck in it, but we can manage our mindset. And asking this question, how can I have more fun today than I ever thought possible, implies there's an answer. And that's why I published in one of the other chapters the Cheaper Than Therapy playlist. Because, well, first of all, I stole it from my roommate. That was his band's name, the Cheaper Than Therapy Band. And they played in the living room every week. And it made us all smile. They were really bad, but the cowbell was fun, and I could do it. And Cheaper Than Therapy, for sure it was. It's the simple things. And that's what that playlist is filled with. And that's what I wanted to leave people with the most.
More cowbell. Right?
More cowbell, exactly.
I love it. I love it. It's true. You do matter, and you do mean a lot. And our words have a lot of power. And the things that we say to each other and the love that we show each other really can and truly make a difference. I know that 4 years ago, my son came to me. He was just turning 30. And he looked at me and he said, Mom, I always wanted to tell you this, but a couple years ago, I was in very dark depression, and I didn't know if I wanted to be here anymore. And I never knew this. And he said, but you know what? I heard your words, and my words are, everything is figure outable. I have it tattooed on me, believe it or not. And it's a Marie Forleo quote. I'll give her some credit. And I kept saying, everything's figure outable. Let's sit down and talk about it. We can figure this out, right? I kept saying, there's always a way. There's always something we can do. We'll figure it out. And he remembered those words. And he said, that is what got him through. So you don't know if your words today will make an impact today, but they may make an impact tomorrow. So always choose something that's kind and supportive and loving in the best way that you know how. It may not always be the best words because we don't always make, like you said, Lonnee, you said, I just said, I'll miss you, right? You'll be missed. I would miss you. And those are the words that she needed to hear. It's those simple, simple words. So if you are struggling with anything, please, 988, please get a hold of, reach out to a friend, reach out to somebody, call 988. That is there to help and support you. And I don't want to end this show anywhere else than with someone that brings hope and joy. I think we felt hope and we felt joy through all the sadness and through all the hardship. And that hope was the word I wrote down when I read his mom's chapter, and the word I wrote down when I read his chapter. It was filled with excitement and hope for what's to come in a future and possibilities. I'm the possibility girl, and it is a Thursday, so it's all about Possibility Thursday. Brady, you are a shining star, my friend. We are so grateful to you for you writing your chapter and sharing your story. What was that like for you to do that? Because that's impressive.
Well, for me, honestly, Mom didn't tell me the deadline was like one day. So I'm
Good
just
on
sitting
you,
in my
Mom.
room thinking I'm going to spread this out over the week. It'll be fine. And Mom's like, by the way, you need it in by like tomorrow. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? This would have been nice to know this morning when I could have just finished it and gotten it through. But I mean, no, I got it. I wrote it out, and it was honestly, it was really exciting to get to relive, NPC, to get to relive my journey. Because honestly, as I was typing it, I thought of a lot of things that I hadn't thought before, and it was really, honestly, it was just kind of fun to just go back and remember all these things. And I remember, and it was just fun to experience that moment where I didn't feel alone anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, that's, finding your tribe, Lonnee. I know you were going to say something too of that. As a mom, it just makes it warms my heart when I heard you talk about these are my people, man. These are my peeps. I'm going to hang with them, and you learn and grow together too. And there's such an excitement. Oh my goodness, Lonnee, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
I really didn't have anything but agreement, and what an inspiration, and how fortunate you are to be so young. And the opportunity now to explore your passion and keep going with the thing that feels good. How blessed you are. And I know you'll turn around and be just as loving and encouraging, knowing full well that other communities aren't nearly as open and accepting. And that you found your footing already, young man. Thank you for penning a wonderful journey through your nerdcore experience. It's a new word to all of us, hon. We got to look up the music. We got to look it all up.
Yeah, it took me a while.
You brought a lot to our
pronounce it, too.
world. Thank you so much, Brady.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you.
You did such a marvelous job. It was really, really, I really enjoyed it. I really liked reading it. You made me feel like I was there, and I felt your excitement.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's what you want to do as a writer, is let them feel what you want them to feel and be a part of your story. And that's what you made us all feel by your writing. So keep doing that, please. Keep writing, because it's amazing. Keep a journal, write down these experiences. They're fantastic, and you have such a great way of sharing them. So keep doing that too, please.
Yes.
I think it's really inspirational. I think what you're doing in finding your tribe is what every mom wants to hear. It's what all of us want to hear. As we wrap things up today, thanks for hanging out with us. We went quite long because we have a lot to say, a lot of messages to share. But I thought the best way to end today would be if you could give one word of advice, one thing to Brady to support him on his journey. What's the one thing that you would say to him?
You can
Let's
do
go.
it.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna go to Seamus. You're muted, but you look great.
Oh, Brady, you rock and roll, man. Bring NPC to Manchester, okay?
I will do my best. I don't know if I can, but I will do my best.
All right, it's coming. I'm buying a T-shirt.
There we go.
And
Eileen, go ahead.
Tonya, you
Brady,
got to share the music, please. I want to hear this nerdcore thing, and I've never heard it, so got to share it in a group, please.
For sure, Hawk. Yes, please share the music, Brady. Eileen, go ahead.
Yeah, so Brady, I'm going to say always follow your heart.
Love that. Carolyn?
Don't forget to love yourself, Brady. That's something that you need to remember. You are an incredible young man, and I can't wait to see what the future has for you.
Robb?
Yeah, Brady, you're an amazing person, man. And one thing I can tell you is just accept everyone, and you're already on that path. You're already on that path. Just keep doing that, and just keep inspiring, and you'll go far, buddy. You'll go very far.
Ellen?
Oh, just you can do it. Like, I believe it. You just put your mind to it. You can do it. You're already doing it. So wow.
Lonnee?
What calls to you is for you, and you're a really good manifester. So think big and then go bigger, because I know you can do it.
Love that. Dante?
Brady, don't be afraid of the rain. Adversity has to come when you're on the path of being great. So when the adversity comes, accept it, walk through it, and keep doing what you're supposed to do. But don't be afraid of the rain.
Love that. That's true. Brady, you're
Well
you're
done,
remarkable. You're remarkable. And your mom, you got a really great mom there too. You're pretty lucky. She's beautiful and supports you, and I love that. Well, this is it. We're come to a close. What an amazing, amazing time I've had talking to all of you and hearing your message and hearing your passion. I think hope says it all. Hope is what I see from all of us here. A future that looks a lot brighter because you've shared your messages. And I can't thank you enough for being here today. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll have more out for you guys. Please, please, please go grab the book. If you haven't gotten it, it's here. It's here. It's over on Amazon. Go grab it. We'd love to have you review it and write it down and tell us everything that you liked about it. But thanks to everybody for being here today. We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank